Thank you, Mr. President. With the permission of our sponsor, we know the department is in very good and capable hands. So our interpellation on the department's budget would be simply for transparency's sake. Kasi marami naman nakasubaybay na mga kababayan natin. Can you check ilan ang nag-view sa live streaming natin? So at least this is for them, no? For them. This is for
Minority Floor Leader, si Secretary Angara, very active siya sa Instagram.
Yeah.
Yung asawa niyo mas active kaysa sa inyo. So nandun lahat ng update niya, mababasa niyo doon. Ako na
Thank you.
nagsasabi.
Good.
Transparent siya doon.
So in the interest of time then, because I want the Filipino people to be involved in the budget process. They should
Of course,
be
of course.
interested, they should also understand the system more kasi hanggang ngayon nga hindi pa naman natin 100% naintindihan tong ating budget process, Mr. President. So in the interest of time, this representation also received a transmittal from the Second Congressional Commission on Education. It's dated today, so November 7, 2024. With some proposed amendments. So siguro if the sponsor will allow it, I'll just forward this letter to her. It contains 5 proposed amendments. Basahin ko na lang yung general topic. Number 1, the same raised by Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Teacher Education Council Secretariat. Number 2, the same raised by Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Permanent Secretariat of the Philippine Qualifications Framework National Coordinating Council. But here, number 3, special provision for the 206.7 million added in the budget of the National Nutrition Council. Number 4, special provision for the NC3 in early childhood education under TESDA. Number 5 is construction of childhood development centers in 48 barangays located in priority 5th and 6th municipalities that currently do not have a single daycare center as mandated by law. So I will just be submitting this to Her Honor in the interest of saving time. Is that okay with you?
It is okay. I just have very quick response
Yes,
for
okay,
His
please.
Honor. I'm happy to inform you that they're all, of course, you have no issue with our also recognizing those as priority items. The Secretary will be very happy with all of this if we can find fiscal space. But I do want to point out that with respect to the item on nutrition, that is under the budget of the National Nutrition Council, which I will also be defending and be happy to support. It is one of the items that I also was supporting when I was still in EDCOM. So that's in the
Is that
DOH budget.
DOH budget,
Yeah.
yes.
And then one last item on the support for the fifth item, the support for child development centers in the 48 barangays located in priority 5th and 6th municipalities. Every single year we budget for this, no? Because I started sponsoring the budget of DepEd during the pandemic, most of the reasons given for the delay in the implementation was the pandemic. But I think even last year there were still delays. So I'm very happy to support it. It's just that we have to make sure that they get built. But I do have exciting news for everyone. Secretary Kiko Benitez has made a special request for a certification program to be put together by TESDA for daycare. I don't know the exact title, but National Certification for Early Childhood Education under TESDA, which is again something I've been pushing for because we cannot fill those daycare centers overnight. But we will now be certifying senior high school students who are interested in an education track to have qualifications to run this, or eventually, maybe they'll take the certification, then through a ladderized education, which is also a law that we passed, they can become full teachers. So there's a lot of things happening to address this need, Mr. President.
Thank you for that, Mr. President. As member of the EDCOM 2, Mr. President, I'm also taking my responsibility seriously. So I took the initiative of meeting with the teachers, public school teachers in the city of Marikina, and had a no-holds-barred dialogue with them. I actually summarized, I may not have captured all of the issues that they raised, but at least some of the issues that they raised in a letter to our secretary. But for the record, one concern is, for example, the guidelines for promotions are not being followed properly, with instances where individuals have secured high-ranking positions without passing the required qualifying exams. Is that possible, Mr. President? For example, siguro we'll apply it, a principal, a person can be appointed principal without taking the national qualifying exam for school heads. Is that possible?
So they do have guidelines specifically to address this, to prevent this from happening. But it has happened, and when they find out, they deal with it as precisely those guidelines are there so they can be followed. And they're happy to look into this Marikina incident or
Thank you.
cases.
They also expressed concern over the school division's lack of transparency regarding financial reports, particularly those related to the Special Education Fund. The Federation President has disclosed that sometimes she has been asked to sign financial documents without sufficient transparency as to their contents. May we know what role the DepEd or the Secretary can play in increasing transparency related to the Special Education Fund?
Mr. President, the control of the fund is with the LGU.
Correct.
But given that it is a special fund for education, the DepEd really has instructions to the teachers. They give them basic rules, no, like do not sign anything in blank. In case of any questions, magtanong muna kayo bago kayo pumirma. And if there are any concerns, of course they can report to them. But it is an LGU fund, and it is subject to COA din.
Di ba the chair is an employee of the DepEd or a ranking member?
Co-chair po ang superintendent, but I think the reality is it would be the mayors who would call the shot. So pag may inutos na okay, edi okay. Pag may inutos na hindi okay, then I guess naiipit sila. But DepEd is assuring us that they are instructing
Yes, thank you.
the superintendent and all to be non-partisan.
Yes.
And not to sign
and
these
maybe
anomalous
to also value that concept of transparency,
Yes.
of the right of the other members of the board to know,
Yes.
to meet, siguro. Not do everything via referendum na pirma-pirma na lang. Siguro the actual meetings must be held, Mr. President. Kung pwedeng ano lang ba, yung exhortation from the Department of Education.
It's duly noted, and the secretary
Thank you.
said they will push for that.
Is there a maximum residency rule on the tenure of school heads? Because the allegation also in Marikina is that some have exceeded the maximum residency rule, and this has been disregarded on many occasions.
Yeah. There's a 5-year residency rule, Mr. President.
Is that
Tama ba
a
yun?
very
5-year
strict rule? Is that a
residency, 5-year
strict
cap?
rule?
Strict? Is it a
Strict ba yan
rule?
na talaga no one should exceed the 5 years? So sometimes you allow service beyond the 5 years?
Very well. Or minsan walang magaling. It is a soft rule, Mr. President, because sometimes the school is performing exceedingly well, or there may not be anyone capable in maybe in the far-flung areas. It is an old law, so of course it can always be revisited by the new. It's not a law, no. It's a rule. It's an internal rule. Department order. So of course they can revisit that anytime, but I think at the end of the day, what's best for the school and the students. If there is negative feedback, of course, then they will act on it and enforce the 5-year rule firmly.
Hindi, my point is kung may nababasa kasi nila may 5-year rule and then may
Tapos hindi nga
napapansin
nasusunod.
nila
So it is a
may
soft
lumalampas, they might feel
Oo.
na may favoritism or whatever,
Yeah.
may
So
connection na
maybe-
ginamit. So
guess you-
in a nearby in a place near the center or in a city in the center of the country, siguro we should apply the rule, because if it's applied in the far-flung areas, there must be some other reasons why we cannot get a replacement.
Yeah. They look, kasi the reality is they look at the whole division because they do rotations. I mean, assuming
Yes.
there's no
Oh, tama.
reason,
Yeah.
it's not meant to be a demotion. It's meant to just follow the rule and rotate them. But sometimes the rotation is not a practical step forward because a small school principal may not be able to handle a big school. So then they have to decide what's best for the students.
But I'm sure hindi sila nakukulangan sa tao or willing to take on the challenge. Sige, pakitingin na lang po, Mr.
Yes.
President.
They will.
And then I will not name names because I don't want to embarrass people, but there are also charges of nepotism because ano daw, mga family members have secured positions within the division. If we can take a look at this, Mr. President.
They will take a look at that, Mr. President.
Yes. And then some additional concerns. Ito, applicable siguro to kahit sa outside of Marikina City. Teachers with full teaching loads, 6 hours per day, are still being assigned ancillary services, contrary to regulations. So, number one, is that the full teaching load, is it 6 hours a day? Tama po ba yun? Yung feedback sa akin. And is the assignment of ancillary services really contrary to regulations?
Per DepEd Order Number 5, Series of 2024, teacher ancillary tasks refer to work incidental to a teacher's normal teaching duties like preparation of lesson plans and checking of exercises. This is performed by our teachers in the remaining 2 hours that complete their 8-hour day. So I think that's one that should be clear, no,
Okay,
na
so
pasok pa yan.
Yeah, pasok pa yan.
Then the overload is applicable to excess in teaching loads of teachers. In such cases, they are compensated by teaching overload pay. Regardless of whether a teacher has overload hours or not, they are all expected to perform teacher ancillary tasks since these are incidental to their teaching load.
And a full teaching load is 6 hours. Tama po yan?
Is 6
Tama.
hours.
Maximum. Okay. Ang second additional concern is that ito po, iba to ha, pakirelay na lang po rin. At i-raise din natin ito pag humarap sila sa atin. The Department of Information and Communications Technology public Wi-Fi in schools is not functioning properly. So, of course, siguro within the DepEd, meron ba kayong feedback system na do you also get that feedback? Ano, so it's functioning? Oh, no, okay. So that's part of what was shared to me, Mr. President. So. Nag-work sa inyo? Sa Valenzuela, nag-work? Nag-work sa Valenzuela.
So, the the vice chairman handling the budget of DICT is hereby notified of DICT's lack of performance.
But, yes,
And of course, I joined the secretary in his appeal for DICT to prioritize these areas with high population, student populations, because they are very much affected. And sila talaga yung gusto nating makinabang sa Wi-Fi, hindi lang yung entertainment, no? I mean, with all due respect, we all deserve our entertainment in whatever form, but the purpose of that Wi-Fi is really for education purposes and perhaps work purposes. So I'm looking at the
so
vice chairman.
at least we have been given this feedback, Mr.
Yes,
President.
thank you for the
Madam
feedback.
Chair. Yes. And then the teachers are requesting a 1-to-1 ratio of teaching resources, particularly laptops or computers. So relay lang po ako ng request nila.
Trabaho na po ng congressman yon na susunod na congressman sa distrito ng Marikina.
Wala tayo sa budget na ganyan program.
Meron
What is
po.
the ratio? What
We
is the
actually
ratio?
have. We
Yeah,
have
but is it 1-to-1
hindi
na?
pa. I mean, parang school building din yan. We have a big backlog kasi recently pa lang naman tayo nagko-computerize, Mr. President.
And then one more observation shared with this representation is that the selection process for training and seminars has been in favor of individuals based on personal connections rather than qualifications. So we just asked the department to take a look into that. Siyempre, parang ano yata yan eh, when you attend a training or a conference, it's a plus for you in your record. So siguro ang observation nila paulit-ulit or may pabor-pabor sa pagpili kung sino yung makaka-attend sa seminar.
Yes, noted. The secretary will make sure that they look into this and have a fair policy, implement fair policies.
So, Mr. President, just to save time, kasi my staff noticed a lot of entries in the COA report for the year 2023. Hindi naman po time ni Secretary Angara yon. So, kung pwedeng hingi na lang kami on how the department intends to address the issues raised by COA
Yeah.
in the latest COA report. Diba?
Yeah.
So, okay po.
The secretary
So,
said they will
in
furnish
writing,
us also
Sige.
with the response or how they're responding to that.
So I just noticed in the budget for the DepEd, I noticed a 30 billion increase. So saan po to papunta, Mr. President?
Ha? 3 billion lang po. 3.
3?
From last year, I think he's talking about.
GAA 2024, 715 billion, Office of the Secretary, and now NEP, unless NEP, NEP 745, so 30 billion. Pero sa committee report pala natin, 748 billion. So a 33 billion peso increase from last year's. Okay, sorry, from last year's GAA level. So may we know where the 33 billion will be placed, Mr. President?
From last year. This is mostly PS. So hiring, is it salary increase? So it's mostly salary increase, not new hire. New hires and salary increase or mostly salary increase? Yeah, mostly PS salary
PS.
increases in particular.
Okay. Di pa masyado malaki yun? Masyado malaki. 30.
Ano pang malaking item? What?
Ito po yung 30 billion na
Okay.
Ito po yung lista.
Okay. We have a list. We can give His Honor a
Sige po.
complete breakdown.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, okay
Just
na.
give you the
Yes,
breakdown.
submission of the
I have
list.
here a breakdown.
Yes,
Okay.
But I noticed also some decreases. Tama po ba to?
Pero tama, Mr. President, the biggest is really
Sweldo.
the personnel benefits. 579
Million.
million of the
Yes.
of the 30 billion. But as I said, we can give
Yes. In
medyo
writing
ang
na lang
dami.
po.
There's like a 1.5 page
Apa.
of different programs, but that is the biggest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor. So,
Pabigyan natin ng kopya.
in the inclusive education program, I noticed a decrease in the indigenous people's education. 154 million, now 74 million. Tama po ba yun? GAA to NEP yun. GAA to NEP.
So the gap. So tapos yung Senate version is same as gap. So restore tayo to NEP version. Yeah. So we're back to the NEP version, Mr. President.
GAA to
Nagbalik
NEP.
tayo.
What did we do with the NEP level in the committee report? In-increase natin?
We added 80 million.
So bumalik nga. Bumalik.
Bumalik,
That's the,
yes.
okay, so
Yes.
thank you for that clarification. And ito siguro isang good news naman. Was this maintained in the committee report? Implement under support to schools and learners program. Implementation of the grant of cash allowance, hardship pay, and reclassification of positions. Last year, 9.8 billion for 20, this year, 2024, 9.8 billion. For next year, 19.7 billion. Is that correct? Yes.
Yes,
So
that's
additional 10 billion.
Yes.
Yes, okay. For the-
Kasi ang hirap talagang magpaano
yes.
eh.
For the teachers ito, sa teachers to pupunta.
Oo, yes.
Sa teachers, yes. Very good. Very good news for our teachers.
And partly is to implement the career progression, so new positions were created. Teacher 4, Teacher 5, Teacher 6. So yun nga, so parang maging exciting naman yung career path nila.
As announced by the President in the SONA. Ayan po. Yun po ba yun ang mangyari ngayon? You can have a career running the school or governing the school, and then you have a career teaching. Ganun po ang mangyari.
Or both.
Or both.
You can be a principal and still choose.
You can be a principal and still choose to teach, unlike before.
That wasn't possible
it's
before?
one or the other.
So then before you either run the school or teach. Yun yung before. Now may hybrid tayo that you can be both.
If they want.
Okay. So thank you for the clarification. Now I understand it better, Mr. President. Ito pong ating special needs education. Ito ba yung is this special education? Ito ba yun
Yes.
for the special children?
Yes.
Children with special. So what did we do here, Mr. President? What are the budget levels for this?
Don't see the proposed kasi.
Sorry, 1 billion na siya. Oo, 1B. 1B na po siya PSC.
Same ba tayo as GAB? 1.04. So we kept it,
12
no?
billion.
Yeah. So to compare, Mr. President, the 2024 GAA is 999 million. And then the NEP was lower by, it's 843.85 million. But the GAB now that we support is 104 billion. So we increased by about 200
Thank you.
from the NEP.
Thank you. Maganda po yan kasi that's in the implementation of the Inclusive Education Act. Tama.
Yes.
Tama. Yung for a very long time ang budget natin for textbook and other instructional materials mga 1 billion eh. Then I think for 2024 ba yung naging 12 billion? For 2023 was it 1 billion? Only 1 billion?
Bakit nga ba yun? Tama ba yung recollection ko na kasi checking the status, 2023, 1 billion lang, 2024.
Well, rounding it off, 1 billion.
Print na. Okay, then 2024 to 2025 is the same? Is it the same?
Okay, so okay.
Okay. So what happened in 2023, they were reviewing the curriculum. That's why there was no increase,
okay.
there was no request for a big budget. And then in 2024, we implemented it. So the budget was 12 billion. And now it's almost the same but slightly higher by about 400 million. 400 million higher, Mr. President.
Sige po.
300 million.
Sige po. I just hope that yung mga problems in the procurement of textbooks na overcome na po ng DepEd kasi alam ko maraming problema diyan eh.
Yes.
May away-away pa ba, Mr. Secretary? Nagkakasuhan pa ba yung mga losing bidder versus the winning bidder diyan? Hindi na. Sana hindi na nga. Okay. But ito po, feedback lang to sa akin kaninang umaga na ito, known to us ang nagreklamo. Mayroon daw silang nagpaparinig daw yung PTA ba nagparinig? PTA school. Ha? Hindi, sino nagparinig sa parent? PTA ba? Na meron tayong isang magulang na napaparinggan na kailangan mag-donate sa pagpintura ng classroom. So, kung pwede, yung parang yung nagsumbong sa amin, talagang ang feeling nila, na-force eh, hindi. So, ano po natin yan? I-discourage po natin kung pwede, Mr. President.
Yes, the secretary said that these things cannot be compelled. If they want to volunteer, they're welcome, but otherwise, no force, no pressure. Okay, and they even have a DepEd policy memo number 41 reiterating the no collection policy in schools.
So okay. So tsaka paulit-ulit na rin po yata yan. Dapat alam na ng teachers yan. But PTAs are not expected to follow the spirit behind the circular.
The teacher should not compel any of the parents.
Yeah. The teachers know that they should also not be compelling the parents to have to do anything beyond what they want to do.
If the parents want to exert peer pressure, that's up to them.
Yeah.
Pero wala na tayong control sa parents.
Parents to parents.
Oo.
That's the. Anyway, sige. The teachers are members of PTA. So when they hear the parents saying this, siguro, suggest na lang tayo sa teachers na i-discourage na lang po nila kasi meron po talaga kaming kilala ng office namin na na-pressure. Tinanong ko yung nanay, na-pressure daw talaga sila. Nagbigay ba? Hindi naman. Ha? O, nag-donate nga, sir. Nag-donate. Well, anyway, sir, the Teacher Education Scholarship Program under RA 11713 financially supports aspiring teachers. This law was passed in 2021. Do we have a funding for this in the NEP 2025? Teacher Education Scholarship
nasa
Program.
CHED siguro yan. No?
CHED.
Nasa CHED, which I also
Yes,
chair.
okay.
So we can
Sa
can report
proper
to you
time.
on that. But I'm
Okay.
pretty sure we have.
Yes, thank you. So sa CHED pala ito. So that would be all for the DepEd for me.
Okay, thank
but
you.
For the other agencies, I still have questions.
For
but
the attached agencies.
Yes, for the other
Yes,
attached
go ahead.
agencies, but-
Please proceed.
Secretary will stay. Okay.
Yeah, he will stay. Of course.
The budget for the establishment of the National Child Development Centers will increase by 55 million. Okay, so these are meant to be given to LGUs for them to build the centers. Ito pa ba? 55 million. So
Yes.
the total amount will now be 276.9 million pesos. Tama po ba yan?
$394.98 po sa committee. Tama po.
Compared to... The 2024 GAA is 315 million. The NEP for 2025 is 353. The GAB is 375. Of course, iniisa-isa ko to because the highest is our committee report, 394.98. Yeah, so that is our proposal. It was carried. Yes, so that was carried by the Committee on Finance.
Are the LGU recipients already predetermined?
Yes, yes,
Andyan
we do not recommend if they do not go through the checklist kasi from our experience with all these agencies, babalik lang yan sa atin na hindi pa prepared yung
So,
lupa, may problema pa sa location, etc.
So may listahan na po, apo.
Yes.
Thank you. Now going to the National Academy of Sports. It has already been 4 years since the National Academy of Sports law was passed, but the NAS System Board of Trustees has yet to comply with the mandate to formulate the policies, guidelines, and criteria to rationalize the establishment, administration, and operation of the sports high schools. Actually, this was one of the issues I quietly raised with Senator Sherwin Gatchalian in the bill on the Baguio City Sports High School na wala pa. Is it a fact? Is it a fact that wala pa pong policies, guidelines, and criteria from the National Academy of Sports?
This is for the operation of the other sports.
Ano ito? Saan ito nanggaling? Saan galing ito? Based on your performance indicator, saan galing ito?
So right now, they are in consultation with the various stakeholders, the different LGUs, the parents, and they hope to have, what do you call it, a first? Initial policy formulation by first quarter of next year.
Okay. O kasi, just so they will know na aabutan na sila because there are now bills on the establishment of sports high schools.
Yeah.
So,
Mga
baka-
inspired ho dahil sa Olympics.
Yes.
We will help in any way we can, and with our secretary who has been an ally in sport. Kasi mahirap ho talaga yung, how do I say this properly? Basta I have full confidence in the secretary who is a basketball champion. Hanggang ganun lang sasabihin ko. Kasi kung nakakaintindi ka ng sports, nandyan din yung puso mo to help our young people who choose to use their talent, dedicate their talent to improving their sport and probably even a career in sports. So I'm very confident now with the support also of the Office of the Secretary that we can get this done sooner. Na delay man, I'm sure maayos na natin to, Mr. President.
Pero si NSA System Board of Trustees, buo na yan. Buo na
Buo na
sila.
ba kayo?
Buo na? Kasi, buo na. Okay.
Yes, buo
Functioning.
na.
So based on the performance indicator of the National Academy of National Academy of Sports, there should be 2 NSA campus sports facility certified to international standards. Yun yata yung commitment ninyo way back in the 2023 budget system. But as of the moment, 0 pa rin? There are no...
Certified what?
International certification po.
Kasi work is with PCBA kasi Senator Pia. Tapos PCBA lang naman ang sa NCC. These are the world class facilities.
Oh, yeah. So wala problema. Are you non-compliant?
Hindi. Kasi sila pa lang naman yung facilities natin. Nasa our campus.
Wait, sino ba nagsabi niya?
Targets po nila yung for 2023.
Target niyo.
Prepare with targeted it kasi ang nag-delay yung turnover sa amin.
Nang alin?
Magkano ito? Magkano itong call? 123 million. Hindi, yung ano. Yung... Hindi ba sila mismo, wala ba silang facility? Ano ba sa Clark? Meron sila, hindi ba international?
So,
Wala silang apartment?
NAS is located in BCDA, and that I'm going back, Mr. I'm adding to the background here because I'm very familiar with it because I and our former colleague were both sponsors of that bill creating the NAS, and by the time that we were passing it. We already were building or had already built the facilities in New Clark City, which was used in the 2019 Southeast Asian Games. So the easy win, and also to prevent us from having a white elephant there, is for these gifted athletes to be based there and to use the facilities. So they already have access to these world-class facilities. There are no others in the country. Unless we want to budget, which I don't personally recommend, because nandiyan eh, may access na sila. So I think what would be more accurate is i-clarify yung target na yun because they have access. They do not own it, and I don't think they need to own it because they have access to the world-class swimming pool, the world-class track oval, and we're happy to support more. Mas mabuti ho yung ganon if well, that's my opinion because then you can have elite athletes and events also using the facilities, multi-use facilities, Mr. President, in other words.
Okay, so one thing is clear, the sports facilities being used by the NAS are world-class.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay,
that,
okay.
that is
That's it,
clear.
okay, that's
Yes.
clear. Thank God. I got worried. But if that is the case, then that's good news, Mr. President.
Yes, it's great news actually.
And then can we now go to the National Council for Children's Television?
Yes.
What has been the greatest achievement of this agency in the past 3 to 5 years, Mr. President?
Good question.
Accomplishment highlights. Child already established
At
child-friendly standards, and they have research and development.
Well, their mandate is to create is it to create or to monitor? To ensure that we have child-friendly content. So in 2019, they launched the child-friendly content standard. And they've had a series of dialogue with content creators.
And then they also have NCCT research.
And then they also have research and development in cooperation with FEU and roughly 2,880 children, parents, and teachers combined participated in the data gathering part of the research.
They also have po yung mga documentary,
Okay, so they also have a documentary called DocuBata.
video documentary contest.
It's a contest.
Yes.
Okay, it's a contest to encourage content creation.
They also have the Global Media and Information Literacy Week.
And then they have a Global Media and Information Literacy Week to increase awareness, National Children's Broadcasting Day, and so on and so forth. We can give His Honor a
So,
copy.
yes, the council is not expected to
Create.
come up with content. It is expected to come up with guidelines that on what are child-friendly content. Yun po ba yun? They are,
Both, Mr. President.
about pati material sila, but okay.
They,
they're-
but really, I don't think we give them enough budget to
yes, the
produce.
budget, tumingin ako sa budget, 123 million.
exactly.
So, baka sweldo lang po ito? Tama
No,
po ba?
we have a budget. I
What's the
meant, I don't
committee
think we give them enough budget. Yeah, there are grants given to them, but we have, alin dito?
So content. Yeah, 123. Sige, yan, sinulat yun.
Meron nga tayong budget, okay? It is a grand amount of 3 million. So, hindi naman sila makapag-create ng ganyan, di ba? Yung budget nila for research is also 3 million. They're monitoring, I mean, really, they're monitoring child-friendly compliance, 280,000. So, we can do better than this, for sure.
Sige.
Yeah.
Tulungan
But
natin
I guess,
sila,
but the
siguro.
question also is, I think the research should include, what are children watching? Are they watching TV or are they watching TikTok? What should they be monitoring?
Pero malaki-laki na rin yung 3 million. Sige, tatanungin natin sila, ano po ang content na nagawa nila sa 3 million pesos? Mapapanood din ba natin sa YouTube to para ma-appreciate din natin?
O, pasample
Sige.
niyo po sa anak
Ganun
niyo.
na lang po. I mean,
O, ganun na lang.
Ganun lang
Sige.
po. Paki-inform na lang po ako. So, for the 3 million pesos, ano ang nagawa nating content at saan naman natin makikita yon para
Yes.
ma-appreciate natin.
Yes. We will send it to you
Siguro,
later.
Ready, set, lead.
Ang nakita kasi ng aming... yes ma'am. Baka sabihin ka.
for Knowledge Channel?
You made it for knowledge channel.
Nagbigay kayo ng grant. Okay. So yung 3 million, so hindi talaga kayo yung nag-create. You give it as grants, no? That grants, okay. I thought you were saying they receive, they use it pala as grants. Okay. So basically, they've given grants to a couple of, what do I call these?
So they gave the 3
creators. So like meron sila sa Knowledge Channel.
So they gave the 3 million away in... okay.
Yes. no?
Sige po. Pero sige, ano pa rin yung bunga nun? So yun pa rin yung gusto natin makita.
So give us a copy. Yes. Yeah. Of the actual creations. Okay. I'll give us a
Sige, taga na. Tsaka sa research ng staff ko, siguro kaya i-instruct ko yung staff ko na mag-subscribe sila kasi ang YouTube subscribers daw ng council for 3 years ay 382. Okay, tulungan natin. So, instruction na ko yung staff ko na mag-subscribe po tayo sa YouTube channel ng National Council for
Ngayon, ilan tayo?
Children's Television. Yan po.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. President.
Parang YouTube channel ko po ito. Padamihin natin, opo. Tulungan tayo. Kasi government, this is government.
Exactly,
eh.
yes, yes.
We're funding it, tulungan natin. So,
Actually, dapat... Okay. The secretary will link it to
Yeah.
the department's social media channels. They have millions of followers, Mr. President. And I guess, no, yung isang network din, which is probably not quite covered by DepEd, would be ngayon yung mga daycares. Dapat yan talaga din. Yeah.
And last but not the least, on the National Museum, we were just there last night. So thank you to Mr. Jeremy Barnes for hosting us. Kita natin yung beauty pa rin ng ating mga works of art, and the house itself, no? The house itself, the National Museum. And siguro the good news, di ba? I think Mr. Barnes and the National Museum have been approached by the Louvre in Abu Dhabi to lend some pieces, some works of art to be displayed in the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. Did you know that, Madam Chair?
No.
Oh,
Baka it's your wife who
I
orchestrated that.
have inside information, so I'm sorry.
Oh, kaya nga, see, sabi ko na eh.
So last night, when I arrived at the National Museum, I immediately asked Mr. Barnes, Jeremy, where is that piece or
Which
work of art?
pieces?
Which piece? One.
Ah,
I think
one,
only.
one
I think we
piece.
will lend one to the Louvre in Abu Dhabi, and he
Wow.
led me to the La Bulaqueña. Tama ba,
La
Mr.
Bulaqueña.
Barnes? Is that La Bulaqueña? So a painting by Juan Luna of a Bulaqueña. In ano man tawag doon? Filipiniana attire.
Kaya, mabagal kami mag-ano eh.
And when will that work of art be displayed in the Louvre, just in case it pushes through?
By June next year, pag congressman na po kayo.
Ay, ganun po ba? So at any rate, so congratulations to the National Museum, for that achievement. So instead of siguro asking more questions, we end on that high note, Madam Chair. We will end on that high note. You
Yes.
know, a Filipino work of art is desired to be displayed in the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. So
Yes, La Bulaqueña.
That's where we will end.
Ang hometown ni Senator Joel
Yes,
and
Senator
ng
Joel
aking
will be
din
proud
pang
of
mga
that.
ninuno.
So thank
Where
you
is
very
he?
much. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you.
Madam
Thank
Chair.
you for your
Thank you to our
questions.
secretary, and we wish him all the best. one of the most, a difficult job, but I'm sure one of the most satisfying positions in government to be the Secretary of Department of Education. So maraming salamat to the DepEd family. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Majority Leader.
President, last to interpolate would be the chairman of the Senate Committee on Public Information. And I was told is going to focus on the National Council on Children's Television, Senator Robin Hood Padilla. May he be recognized.
Senator Robin Hood Padilla is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo. A'udhu billahi minasyaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Una po, ako ay tagahanga po ng kalihim ng edukasyon. Ako po ay nagpapasalamat kay dating Senador Angara sapagkat napakarami pong niyang itinutulong sa BARM, sa mga Muslim sa panahon nito. Meron lang po akong mga gustong katanungan. Nabanggit po kasi, napakahalaga po nito, yung tungkol po sa National Council for Children's Television. Ito po ay napakalaking kapangyarihan upang mabalanse po natin ang mga matatawag po nating hindi magagandang impluensya sa mga kabataan ngayon na napapanood po at nakikita sa social media. Gusto ko lang po malaman kung ano po ang plano po nila dito. Meron po bang matibay na plano ang National Council for Children's Television para malabanan po itong mga programang nakakasira sa kabataan?
So, nagdagdag tayo. Wait, is this dagdag or is this the current? So, actually, Mr. President, there is an item called Advocacy and Communications Plan on TV Violence Rating Code. We added 500,000 pesos. And then there's also the launching and implementation of TV Violence Rating Code. We added 1 million pesos for this. Because their job is really to monitor and to create these guidelines. So this is the initial funding. The description here is the TV VRC. This is the violation rating, used in conjunction with the NCCT's child-friendly content standard, will play a crucial role in validating the suitability of programs aired on local television, ensuring they align with child protection norms. And then it also includes the facilitating the review and harmonization of existing guidelines by the MTRCB, focusing on the development of standards or codes specifically designed to shield children from violence in television programming.
Opo, yun po. Napakaganda po at binasa po ng ating sponsor. Yun po kasi ang ating ikinakatakot po sa ngayon, hindi naman po kaila sa lahat na sa social media po, sobra po ang mga palabas na hindi na po talagang... Ang katunayan nga po, meron pa po tayong nakapending sa floor na patungkol po sa pagpapalakas ng MTRCB dahil nga po dito sa problemang ito. Ang gusto lang po nating malaman kung sapat po ba yung budget na ating naibigay sa kanila para po mas magkaroon po ng ipin. Kasi sa ngayon po parang hindi po natin maramdaman. Baka po sana sa susunod, sa pamamahala po ng aking kaibigan at aking pong hinahangaan, ay magkaroon po ito ng ipin para makakita po tayo na talagang may mga napaparusahan po sa usapin po ng mga programang nakasisira po at masamang impluwensya sa mga bata.
Well, definitely, Mr. President, like a lot of our agencies, pati yung mga attached agencies ng DepEd, talagang nangangailangan pa ng pondo. But in all due respect, we try to do our best. And sa 2024 GAA, 82 million yung budget. Sa GAB, 110 million yung budget. And ang committee report natin is 123 million. So lagi ho nating pinupush na itaasan at suportado naman tayo ng ating Chairman of Committee on Finance because they approved the budget we recommended. But I'd also like to add that Congressman Toff de Venecia has I guess it's a draft bill, no? To broaden the scope of the National Council for Children's Television to make it National Council for Children's Media, which is a big task. It's a Herculean task if you ask me kasi ang dami ng sanga niyan. But I personally think this is a great move in the right direction and pwede natin i-support ito, including the necessary budget to launch it properly.
Opo, napakaganda po nun. Opo. At magkaroon din po talaga uli ng mga programa talaga doon sa mga main networks ngayon natin. Meron po ba tayong karapatan o masasabing tayo po ay malaya na makapagpapalabas ng mga programa ng gobyerno na para sa mga bata dito po sa mga main networks, sa mga malalaking networks? Meron po, pwede po ba yun?
Can you? No, they are required to show 15% of child-friendly, whether it's produced by you or not, di ba? Yeah. So, kasi yung batas po natin, it requires that all the networks show at least 15% of their daily airtime. The requirement is 15% at least of their daily airtime is dedicated to child-friendly shows. So whether it is these are products of grants of the council or it's the own shows of the networks, it doesn't matter as long as it is considered child-friendly.
Apo, may nakamonitor po dito, may nagmo-monitor po kung sumusunod po ang mga main networks po.
Meron. They have a media monitoring section that does that. And as I mentioned, we increased their budget to help them do their job better.
Opo, pwede pong makahingi po sa aming komite ng mga palabas na ito. Pwede po namin pong makita, masilip po. Kahit
Yes,
hindi po
pwede
ngayon,
po.
sa ibang panahon po.
Pwede po.
Opo. Ang pangalawa na lang pong tanong, hintayin na lang po namin yung ipapadala po ninyo. Pangalawa na lang pong tanong, meron po ba tayo sa ating patungkol sa mental health po ng mga teacher? Meron po bang nakabantay dito sa DepEd, sa mental health po ng mga
Sa
teacher?
Yeah, of course. Batas na yan eh. Oo.
Na-implement nila yung bagong batas.
Ay, hindi na to sa NCCT. Sorry, hindi na NCCT. DepEd na. DepEd na. Yeah.
Ano yung mga programs natin?
So one is yung ano, 'di ba? 'Di ba we passed the law that changes so we can hire more, no? The guidance counselors. We changed the requirements, 'di ba? We changed the because we change we have like guidance counselor 1, 2, yan mga ganun. Yeah. So one thing we've done, Mr. President, and this is by virtue of the law na siya, right? Pumasala. It's already a law, right? Mental health. Yeah. One of the things we've done by way of law is we created new positions, which is already being implemented by DepEd for mental health. What do you call them? Mental health experts. So specialists, no longer just guidance counselors, because historically, medyo naging, to put it bluntly, parang medyo naging dead-end career path yung guidance counselor because ang taas ng requirement to get hired, you need a master's degree, and then ang baba ng sweldo. So we now have new positions to make it more exciting, and there's a career progression, and the secretary was involved in making that law. So it's also a priority of theirs. Sorry, specifically, are you asking about the wellness of the teachers?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Oo,
ma'am. Yes.
meron din, di ba? Yeah. Oo. So they have online sessions to be able to reach more teachers, no? Kasi kesa magpapunta ng paisa-isang expert, and they cover a variety of mental health topics, and they also have a hotline available to the teachers.
Opo, siguro po gusto ko na lamang pong ibahagi sa ating mahal na kalihim at sa edukasyon. Doon po sa naganap kasing aming exposure nitong huli, kasi kami po ay umikot, magmula po sa Luzon, napunta ng Visayas, napunta ng Mindanao. Marami po kami nakausap na mga teacher dahil sila po yung nakikipag-coordinate sa amin para mapuntahan po namin yung malalayong lugar. Ang lagi po nilang sinasabi ngayon, sa public school po, nagkaroon po ng parang takot ang mga teacher na disiplinahin ang mga bata na makukulit na katulad ko nung araw. Sapagkat nagkakaroon po ng parang kampanya sa social media na laging ang napapalabas ay nagiging masyado ng ang ating mga teacher ay mahigpit, nagiging sila ay may karahasan na. Sa nangyayari po ngayon sa mga classroom na dyan na yung mga makukulit na mga bata, hindi na lang po pinapansin ng mga teacher, tinitiis na lang niya dahil natatakot po siya na baka po siya ay makasuhan o magkaroon pa ng problema. Yun lang po, gusto ko lamang pong i-share yun, mahal na Pangulo, na meron na pong ganyang klaseng hinaing ang ating mga teacher na sana po ay maging bigyan po ito ng pansin sapagkat talaga pong takot na po sila na magbigay ng disiplina sapagkat sa mga nangyari po na hindi po talaga nabigyan sila ng tamang pansin kung ano po talaga din, kung ano ang dapat nilang gawin sa mga classroom. Siguro po magkaroon po ng alituntunin o mga dapat gawin para po yung ating pong mga teacher ay hindi po magkaroon ng ganitong pagkatakot. Yun lamang po, mahal na tagapangulo, marami pong salamat.
Maraming salamat, Senator Robin Hood Padilla.
Noted po yun, but just a quick response, meron po silang, aware po sila, meron silang positive discipline and socio-emotional learning, and meron din teaching manual on children's rights. So they're on it. Alam niyo naman sa lumang panahon, medyo yung iba dyan, di talaga sila aware. So siguro kailangan talaga pang dagdagan ang kaalaman din ng mga teachers. And of course, mahirap ang trabaho nila kasi sobra-sobrang dami ng estudyante minsan that the challenges are really there for them.
Opo, yun lang po yung concern natin. Talaga pong, yun po yung sinabi sa akin. Hindi lang po isa, dalawa, tatlo, ang dami po talaga. Ang sinabi sa akin, hindi na namin alam kung paano namin didisiplinahin ang estudyante namin dahil laging kami ang nababalikan. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat po.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, there being no other reservation for interpellation.
Mr. President, I still have a manifestation from my brother.
Yes, Senator
Pwede ko naman
Tia.
ibigay na lang kay Secretary, pero baka ma-text ako ng di oras. Kaya I will read the manifestation of Senator Alan Cayetano. I would like to raise a critical matter concerning the budget allocation of DepEd for the Basic Education Facility Program, which plays an important role in the construction, rehabilitation, and improvement of school buildings and facilities in the country. According to UNESCO, physical infrastructure is important because it has a significant impact on children's enrollment, attendance, completion rates, and even learning achievements. While adaptation strategies such as implementing double, triple, or combination shifting allow more children access to school, there are studies which find that said strategies negatively affect educational achievement and learning efficiency of the learners due to shortened instruction time. Research shows that this is merely a patch-up or temporary solution that will not really address the problem of classroom congestion. The country's existing inequalities in education access and learning outcomes are further exacerbated by the effects of climate change. It is noteworthy that the National Expenditure Program was prepared and submitted to Congress during the first half of 2024 before the country faced several disasters, including severe tropical storm Christine and super typhoon Karina, which caused devastating floods and landslides. These hazards leading to disasters have left widespread damage to life and property and have further strained our already vulnerable and limited educational facilities. Despite the urgent need for repair and rehabilitation, the proposed budget of 6,132,800,000 for DepEd's basic education facility program, specifically for the rehabilitation, renovation, repair, and improvement of kindergarten, elementary, and secondary school buildings under the NEP 2025 was slashed by 2 billion to 4,132,800,000 under the General Appropriations Bill. Curiously, however, the budget for DepEd's basic education facility for the construction, replacement, and completion of kindergarten, elementary, and secondary school buildings and technical vocational laboratories and others jumped from 15 billion under the NEP to 24 billion in the GAB. Curiously, as annex titled Department of Education School Building Program was attached to the GAB, where beneficiary schools were already identified. Given the urgency of rebuilding efforts, maximum utilization and efficiency are needed to expedite the restoration and improvement of our educational facilities. These challenges, compounded by the damage caused by extreme weather events and climate change, call for a firm commitment to rehabilitate and improve our education facilities by restoring the amount slashed from DepEd's budget for the rehabilitation, renovation, repair, and improvement of kindergarten, elementary, and secondary school buildings. So this is the manifestation of Senator Alan Cayetano. As I told the Secretary, actually without having even read his manifestation, that this representation will do our best and hope to at least restore 1 billion. If our colleagues will join me, then let's try to restore the entire 2 billion.
Thank you, Senator Cayetano. Majority Leader.
Again, Mr. President, there being no other interpellators, I move to close the period of interpellation and consider the budgets of the following: the Department of Education and its attached agencies, Office of the Secretary, Early Childhood Care and Development Council, National Book Development Board, National Council for Children's Television, National Museum of the Philippines, Philippine High School for the Arts, National Academy for Sports, deemed submitted for the body's consideration. I so move, Mr. President.
There is a motion by the Majority Leader to close the period of interpellation and consider submitted the budgets of the Department of Education and its attached agencies. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move for a minute suspension to enable us to have a picture with our favorite basketball player and
Session is
Secretary of
suspended.
Education.
Whatever we can. Those two are very much aligned also with our priorities, so we're happy to give whatever support we can. 4 billion slides. This has your program important.
Senator
Pwede ko naman
Pia.
ibigay na lang kay Secretary, pero baka ma-text ako ng di oras, kaya I will read the manifestation of Senator Alan Cayetano. I would like to raise a critical matter concerning
Sabi
your program was prepared problem of class.
Senator
Pwede ko naman
Pia.
ibigay na lang kay Secretary, pero baka ma-text ako ng di oras, kaya I will read the manifestation of Senator Alan Cayetano. I would like to in the list
Marami.
important because
Senator
pwede ko naman
Pia.
ibigay na lang kay Secretary, pero baka baka ma-text ako ng di oras, kaya I will read the manifestation of Senator Alan Cayetano. I would like to raise a critical matter concerning the budget allocation of DepEd for the Basic Education Facility Program, which plays an important role in the construction, rehabilitation, and improvement of school buildings and facilities in the country. According to UNESCO, physical infrastructure is important because it has a significant impact on children's enrollment, attendance, completion rates, and even learning achievements. While adaptation strategies such as implementing double, triple, or combination shifting allow more children access to school, there are studies which find that said strategies negatively affect educational achievement and learning efficiency of the learners due to shortened instruction time. Research shows that this is merely a patch-up or temporary solution that will not really address the problem of classroom congestion. The country's existing inequalities in education access and learning outcomes are further exacerbated by the effects of climate change. It is noteworthy that the National Expenditure Program was prepared and submitted to Congress during the first half of 2024 before the country faced several disasters, including severe tropical storm Christine and super typhoon Karina, which caused devastating floods and landslides. These hazards leading to disasters have left widespread damage to life and property and have further strained our already vulnerable and limited educational facilities. Despite the urgent need for repair and rehabilitation, the proposed budget of 6,132,800,000 for DepEd's Basic Education Facility Program, specifically for the rehabilitation, renovation, repair, and improvement of kindergarten, elementary, and secondary school buildings under the NEP 2025 was slashed by 2 billion to 4,132,800,000 under the General Appropriations Bill. Curiously, however, the budget for DepEd's Basic Education Facility for the